From admitting to going through a major crisis after turning 40 to having to master multiple difficult skills for John Wick Chapter 4, here's why Keanu Reeves isn't the man he used to be. People have been going crazy over Keanu lately, calling him the internet's boyfriend.
It was so much a part of the story, this idea of the traditional and the modern.
But while most people have started considering Keanu immortal, he's aging with time and even went through a massive midlife crisis. Jada Pinkett Smith explained why fans are head over heels for him, and it's all thanks to his sweetness and mysterious charm, which make him look so damn attractive to his audience. But the crazy part is that most of them believe Keanu never ages. He's been on the big screen since the 80s, but he's 58 now, and solely relying on his looks, nobody can tell he's that old. But if you put the wild fan theories of him being immortal aside, he's just like the rest of you, and with time, he's felt the aging change him. He went through a major crisis when he turned 40, almost like a second puberty. And in an interview, he explained that his body and mind were changing. He had all these thoughts about life and mortality, which were very different from when he was younger, and for a moment it made him forget where he was and how he got there. He had to find his way back to himself through the chaos, and even now, he views aging with both wonder and terror. He embraces all parts of it, the good and the bad, and his humble outlook on life is the only thing that's got him this far. Sure, he did some killer stunts in John Wick 4, but he found them very hard to get through. Keanu's usually compared to Tom Cruise because he's all about getting down and dirty in those action sequences. He's always done his own stunts, but in John Wick Chapter 4, he took his stunt game to a whole new level. He had to train like a beast for 3 whole months to pull off his moves, and he even worked with nunchucks, which sounds crazy challenging. But Keanu didn't back down from any of it. He was really pushing the limits to give the fans what they wanted. But Keanu admitted that his role in this film was the hardest physical role he's ever had in his entire career. His training was super intense, and while he was used to rocking the screen with electrifying stunts in the past, age has caught up with him now, and he admitted that there are some stunts that he just can't do. The man's come face to face with the reality of physical limitations, and the crazy Matrix moves he used to nail are things of the past. During an interview with Willie Geist, Keanu explained that he can't run because it leads to way too much fatigue, and then he has to go through a tough recovery period, which just isn't worth it. By putting in some time, he's learned to deal with the after effects, but it's worth noting that all of that action doesn't come naturally to him anymore. Remember those epic chase scenes in The Matrix, where he was flipping and running up walls? All of that's gone, and now he's all about the combat in his John Wick role. Don't get me wrong, he's still an action hero, but he's adapting to new ways of kicking butt, ways that are suitable for his aged body. His newer projects are also catering to that, choreographing scenes in a way that's doable for Keanu. In fact, the cinematographer Dan Laustsen revealed that they shoot the fight sequences wide just to cater to Keanu. The actor's out there, doing these scenes on his own, and it gets so intense that these scenes have to be shot wide. Laustsen explained that they want to give Keanu as much space as he wants so that he can do his thing however he wants to do it. After all, the man's an actor, not a stunt specialist, and his movements will never be as precisely calculated as those of trained specialists. Plus, he talked about how he sometimes runs out of speed, while other times he can go super fast, and the team wants to keep the filming process as smooth as possible. Keanu's got a wide range of skills and ways in which he does his stunts, so they adjust the wide shots accordingly to make everything look good. But does this affect how the John Wick movies feel? Not at all. If anything, it makes sure that Keanu can keep doing his own stunts, preserving the authentic feel of the films. But the John Wick franchise has needed a lot more than wide shots to keep Keanu active. In the first movie, he trained for a whopping 15 weeks, and he was 49 at the time. They taught him jiu-jitsu and judo, but they still couldn't go overboard with complicated moves. His age played a huge factor in the moves they could include. So they picked the most effective stuff and had him drill those moves for hours, 6 days a week. They took it slow and steady to avoid injuries and let his body adapt to the moves, which is how he got through most of those badass scenes. For the second movie, he took things up a notch and trained for a whole 6 months while working with Terran Tactical, mastering his shooting skills and learning more weapons. He also stepped up his judo and jiu-jitsu game by training with the Machados and even earning a stripe on his belt. But by this time, they'd already reduced the number of flashy running scenes and stuck to more fast-paced combat scenes that didn't require too much of Keanu's energy. Then came John Wick 3, for which he trained another 6 months. But this time, he even trained with dogs who worked with Halle Berry. He took his combat skills to the next level, learning how to handle blades like a pro, and even though the choreography looked more intense than before, he was all about that healthy diet and putting in the work. He wanted to stay fit and not get injured during filming. Trust me, this guy's injuries had been terrible, to the point where he had to keep a brutal neck injury secret just to play Neo in The Matrix. Keanu was stoked about the script and those epic bullet time scenes, and there was no way he was going to let that role slip through his fingers. The Wachowskis wanted him to train in Hong Kong-style martial arts for 4 months, and Keanu agreed to it. But here's the twist. He was dealing with a gnarly neck issue that was getting worse, and while he'd tried to fight it off for years, it was causing tingling, loss of feeling, and greatly messing up his balance. Before the training even began, he had to undergo a crazy 2-level fusion surgery on his spine with a plate put in his neck. But he never told anyone about it, and he dealt with all of that pain and pressure in secret. He trained like a boss in a neck brace, and even though his spinal column was in serious danger, he kept going because nothing was going to stop him from being the iconic Neo. Even the recovery process back then was different because they told him to start moving right away after that intense spinal surgery, making him even more confident to push his limits. The Matrix, in 1999, had him going through 4 months of kung fu training, even before cameras started rolling. But let's face it, he was pretty young at the time. For John Wick, he had to work like a machine, ready to kick butt with hours in the gym and shooting range. While Keanu had to take brutal ice baths to help with recovery, his dedication never wavered. John Wick 4 had 14 major action sequences, 4 times more than the previous ones, and he started his fight training 8 months before they started shooting. The precision driving training took 9 more months, all while he had to master horseback riding and nunchucks.
You know, there's stuff to take home, you know, so much so that you have it, you know, right?
Aside from the physical stuff, he worked on his Japanese and Russian pronunciations too, and in an interview, he revealed the secret to his crazy work ethic. For him, it was all about doing his best, loving what he does, and facing the challenges head-on. Whether it's fighting scenes, night shoots, or intense action for hours on end, he's in it to win it. But he admitted that all that training takes a toll on his body, and his ultimate recovery plan included the use of ice. He's all about the cold plunge, and when he can't find an ice bath, he just dumps ice in the tub, which helps inflammation and recovery after every tough training session.
Different. No, I mean, I think for me, it's always fun to be, first of all, be a part of a film, and then part of a film you love, and then to have an opening.
Yeah. Even his co-stars were left in awe of Keanu's dedication, because even though Keanu's gotten way more limited physically, he still finds a way to make do in his action roles. So there you have it. From having to master multiple difficult skills for John Wick Chapter 4 to admitting to going through a major crisis when he turned 40, that's why Keanu Reeves isn't the man he used to be.